My name's Rob Catlow. I'm a volunteer with Alzheimer's Society. I started volunteering with them back in 2011, soon after my father passed away with dementia. So I've been a volunteer for well over 10 years now. My posh title is Dementia Friends Ambassador. It doesn't make me an expert. I'm not a doctor or a counsellor. I'm a bloke whose dad had dementia, but I've learned a little bit about it since I've been retired. Dementia Friends, a 1 hour awareness session to try and dispel some of the myths about dementia and to encourage people to think kindly and patiently about people with dementia. I think it's awareness of what dementia is and what it isn't. And okay, we can't at the moment cure it, but society, local communities can learn from the session, we hope, and then react in a kinder, more patient way with people with dementia. And obviously there's loads of people with dementia now, like 900,000 approximately, and that touches so many different people. There's people with dementia themselves, family, friends, work colleagues, all of that range of people. So it impacts so many lives that we just felt it was so important to get the message across, to try and almost dispel some of the stigma so that people are less scared of it. Okay, it's still not a nice condition to be, but it can be well looked after with the right support. I came along and delivered a session to staff here in January 2020, and that seemed to be quite well received. Would I mind coming along and doing sessions around coffee morning, piece of cake? Sounded ideal, really informal, it's a nice atmosphere, fairly small group, 6 to 12 people normally. So I think I've done 7 sessions like that over the last couple of years. Clear cut, I've been arranging these coffee mornings for a few years now. It's fairly informal, it's fairly layman's terms. We actually start with a little bit of a quiz just to see if people know anything at the moment, and then we develop the answers to that quiz, and that helps to bring out some of the key facts. And then using a bookcase as a fairly simple analogy to what goes on in people's minds when the brain does begin to deteriorate, it helps to illustrate why it tends to be short-term memory that goes first for people with Alzheimer's anyway. And then we look at making a cup of tea and just realise how complicated that actually is. It's not as simple as we sometimes think it can be. And then at the very end we sort of wrap up what happens next sort of question. So there's those 4 elements: the quiz, the bookcase, the cup of tea, and the wrap up at the end. And yeah, it's informal, there's questions and answers, and I can be interrupted at any time. I don't know all the answers. I wish I did, but I don't. But if I don't know, then I'll point you to the right place on the website to try and find out more. Pointing them at Alzheimer's Society. There's someone at the end of a phone all the time. The website has got so much information, and there are self-help forums on the website as well, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's already been the information's already there, and that support and guidance is really valuable. Just talking to somebody who can be reassuring and who can point you in the right direction, see through the fog sometimes, and get to the key things that you need to address. No cure at the moment, but there's a few wedges in the door where drugs are coming into being now that are helping to slow the progression, and that's the first step, I think, in getting to the bottom of this. Especially with someone with dementia, you don't know what they're going to do next, or if they've done what they should have done, so your brain is always half with them. So I know my mum found it really hard to go out because she didn't want to leave Dad on his own. But my brother was nearby and just around the corner, so he was able to step in and fulfil that added support and to give Mum that respite. And other people, a lot of care homes often offer day support, day relief. So the person with dementia can go to the care home for the day and give the carer a day to have a cup of tea and chill out or whatever. And we often forget, we focus on the people with dementia, but the carers and the family need as much support as anyone else. You know, my mum was desperate for support looking after Dad, because you tend to forget, and they need that encouragement and that support and that care and attention as well.